Hey y'all, I think that 10 years is enough time to decide how good a draft pick was. With that being said, since the draft is done, I will be revisiting the top 10 picks of the 2015 MLB Draft and seeing how their careers went. There are some superstars, while some of these guys busted out. With the first overall pick, the Arizona Diamondbacks took Dansby Swanson, a shortstop out of Vanderbilt. He was really good at Vanderbilt, where in his senior season he batted .335 with 15 homers and an OPS of 1,046. He was described by scouts as a technically sound hitter with good base running ability and speed. They also liked his quickness and arm strength for playing shortstop. He would play solid at low A for the D-backs in 2015. Before the 2016 season, the D-backs would trade Dansby Swanson to the Braves. The D-backs would get Shelby Miller and Gabe Spire, and the Braves got Swanson and two other prospects. In 2016, he would start in the minors, but he would make his debut towards the end of the season. He would play 38 games, playing pretty well, batting .302 with an .803 OPS, a .9 WAR, and three homers. Dansby would regress in 2017, starting in the majors, also spending some time in the minors. On the season, he would bat .232 with a .636 OPS, with three home runs and a negative .3 WAR. He would also struggle in the field with a negative 5 OAA. In 2018, he would deal with some wrist and hand injuries. He would improve a little in 2018 with the Braves, batting .238 with a .699 OPS and 14 homers. He did have a 2.3 WAR, and he was also great in the field, with 10 defensive runs saved. In 2019, he would deal with more injuries, with a bruised heel that made him miss a month. In 2019, he would improve offensively, batting .251 with a .748 OPS and 17 homers. He would be good in the field again with 3 OAA. In 2020, in the shortened season, he would play great, batting .274 with an .809 OPS with 10 home runs and a .115 WRC+. He would also be elite in the field, being 99th percentile for OAA with 8 in the shortened season. He had 2.6 WAR, which is great for only 60 games. In 2021, he would not be quite as good, batting .248 with an OPS of 760, but he did set his career high with 27 homers. His fielding dipped a little bit, though he was still a positive defender and finished with a 2.1 WAR. He would be an important piece to the Braves' 2021 World Series team. In 2022, he would have his best complete season yet, batting .277 with an OPS of 776 and having 25 home runs. This year was good enough for him to make his first All-Star team. He would also be incredible in the field with 21 OAA, which got him the Gold Glove. He would also have 5.7 WAR. He would be a free agent after this year. This year was good enough to get him a 7-year, $177 million contract with the Cubs. In 2023 with the Cubs, he would deal with some injuries, but he still put together a pretty good year, batting .244 with a .744 OPS and had 22 homers. He had put together a 4.8 WAR season as he made another All-Star game. He was obviously exquisite in the field, winning another Gold Glove on the back of a 20 OAA season. In 2024, he would be a little worse and dealt with more injuries. 2024, he would bat .242 with a .701 OPS and 16 homers. He was obviously elite defensively again and had a 4 WAR season. He's playing pretty well in 2025, as right now in the season he's batting .256 with an OPS of 735 and has hit 15 homers. He has a 2.5 WAR right now and has been great defensively again. He's had a pretty good career with a solid bat and elite defense. The main piece the D-backs got in the trade was Shelby Miller, who in his 3 years in Arizona had a 6.15 ERA, then a 4.09 ERA, then a 10.69 ERA. Definitely a trade the D-backs wish they had back. The Astros were on the clock with the second overall pick. This pick was given to them for not signing the first overall pick in 2014, Brady Aiken. With this pick, they would take Alex Bregman, a shortstop out of LSU. He wouldn't spend that much time in the minors, getting caught up towards the end of the 2016 season. The Astros liked him better as a third baseman, so that is where he would play primarily. 49 games in 2016, he would play pretty good, batting .264 with an OPS of 791 and 8 homers. He would be really good in 2017, batting .284 with an OPS of 827 with 19 home runs and a WAR of 4.3. He would be elite defensively and he would help the Astros win the 2017 World Series. I'd also like to say he was part of the 2017 cheating scandal, though. In 2018, he would take a big step up, batting 286 with an OPS of 926, 31 homers, and a WAR of 7.6. He would make his first All-Star game this year and actually won All-Star game MVP. This year would be good enough for him to come fifth in MVP voting. Before the 2019 season, Bregman would sign a 6-year, $100 million contract extension. In 2019, he had his best year ever, batting 296 with an OPS of 1,015, 41 homers, and an 8.9 WAR. He'd make the All-Star game again and also win the Silver Slugger for the third base position. He would come in a close second in MVP voting, barely losing to Mike Trout. He would be a big piece of them getting back to the World Series. 2020 was a shortened season, and in this season he would take a little step down, batting 242 with an 801 OPS and 6 homers. In 2021, he would suffer a left quad strain that made him miss about half the year. He would be solid in the time he did play, batting 270 with an OPS of 777. He would help them make the World Series again. In 2022, he would be pretty good, batting 259 with an OPS of 820, with 23 home runs and a WAR of 4.5. This is the year he would finally break out as a fielder, being in the 94th percentile with 8 OAA. Before this year, he was slightly above average fielding wise. It would also help the Astros win their second World Series. 2023 was more of the same for Bregman, where he would bat 262 with an OPS of 804, which 25 homers, and a WAR of 4.9. 2024 was another similar year for Bregman, with an OPS of 768, 26 homers, and a WAR of 4.1. He would be a lead again in the field, winning his first Gold Glove. He was a free agent after this year, where he would sign a 3-year, $120 million deal with the Boston Red Sox. There was obviously the controversy where Devers did not want to switch his position, and Bregman said he was willing to play second base. However, the Red Sox still wanted Bregman to play third. He'd play well in 2025, batting 299 with an OPS of 938 and 11 homers. However, another quad strain put him on the IL, causing him to miss a portion of the year, though. He would still make the All-Star team. Obviously, this pick was a success. With the third overall pick, the Colorado Rockies would pick Brendan Rodgers, a shortstop out of high school. He was described as having strong offensive potential with solid defense, but his speed could limit him to playing second base. Since Brendan Rodgers came out of high school, it took him a little longer to get caught up, not making his debut until 2019. The Rockies would play him primarily as a second baseman. 2019, he would play 25 games, not being very good, batting 224 with an OPS of 522. He also had terrible defense, which resulted in him having a negative .6 WAR. In 2020, he would only play 7 games, but in those 7 games, he was atrocious, batting 95 with an OPS of 238. Somehow, in only 7 games, he had negative .5 WAR, and he was a negative fielder again. In 2021, he would improve a lot, batting 284 with a 798 OPS, 15 homers, and a 1.4 WAR. However, he did struggle in the field again with negative 3 OAA. He had a similar year at the plate in 2022, batting 266 with an OPS of 733 and hitting 13 homers. During the last couple seasons, the Rockies had him playing second base and shortstop, but they moved him to second base fully for the season. Because of this, he took a huge step up fielding, winning the Gold Glove. This position change also helped them accumulate 4.3 WAR. Unfortunately, in 2023, Brendan Rodgers suffered a left shoulder injury, making him miss most of the year. He would play like normal in the 46 games he did play, hitting 258 with an OPS of 700. In 2024, he had basically the same season at the plate as his last 3, batting 267 with an OPS of 721 and having 13 home runs. He would take a big step back in the field, though, having negative 3 OAA, so he had a WAR of 1.1. He was a free agent after 2024, where he signed a 1-year, $2 million prove-it deal with the Houston Astros. In 2025 with the Astros, he suffered a left oblique strain, causing him to miss some time. Before he had the injury, he was playing pretty bad, batting 191 with an OPS of 544. Brendan Rodgers did have some solid years, but I would say this pick is underwhelming considering he was selected third overall. With the fourth pick, the Texas Rangers took Dylan Tate, a right-handed pitcher out of UC Santa Barbara. He was described as being known for his fastball and slider with potential for a plus changeup. His fastball sits between 92 and 94, with the potential to get up to 98. In 2015, he played well in the minors, but in 2016, he played poorly in the minors. In August of 2016, he was traded to the Yankees with a package of prospects for Carlos Beltran. In 2017, he was alright in the minors, but in the middle of the 2018 season, he was traded to the Orioles with two other prospects in exchange for Zach Britton. Then the Orioles would move him to the bullpen full time, and he would debut as a reliever during the 2019 season. In 2019, he would struggle, pitching 21 innings with a 6.43 ERA. In 2020, he would improve, pitching 17 innings with an ERA of 3.24. In 2021, he would have his biggest workload yet, pitching 68 innings with a 4.39 ERA. In 2022, he would have his best season, pitching 74 innings with an ERA of 3.05 and a WAR of 1.2. Unfortunately, in 2023, he would miss the entire season due to a right elbow flexor strain. In 2024, in his first year back from injury, he would struggle, pitching 33 innings with a 4.59 ERA. The Orioles would DFA him in August, where he was then picked up by the Blue Jays. He really got passed around the AL East like he's Bonnie Blue. Anyway, he would pitch 3 innings for the BJs, where he had a 5.4 ERA. Going into the 2025 season, he would sign a 1 year, $1.4 million contract extension with the Blue Jays. So far, he's pitched 5 innings with a 5.06 ERA. I would say his career was pretty disappointing for being taken fourth overall. With the fifth overall pick, the Astros are selecting again, this time with their actual pick. They would take Kyle Tucker, a high school outfielder. Scouts described him as having one of the best bats out of the high schoolers, with a strong sprint speed and the arm strength to play corner outfield. Kyle Tucker would make his debut in 2018, not playing very well. In 28 games, he batted 141 with an OPS of 439. 2019, he would spend most of his time in the minors, but he played 22 games at the MLB level, but he definitely improved. He batted 269 with an OPS of 857 and hit 4 homers. He became a full-time starter in the shortened 2020 season, where he played really well. He batted 268 with an OPS of 837 with 9 homers and a WAR of 1.9. He also weirdly led the entire MLB in triples, having 6 triples on the year. He also broke out in the field, being in the 95th percentile of fielders with 5 OAA. In 2021, he fully broke out at the plate, batting 294 with an OPS of 917 with 30 homers and a WAR of 5.3. He was pretty good in the field again. In 2022, he had another super good year where he batted 257 with an OPS of 808, 30 homers, 25 stolen bases, and a WAR of 5.5. This year was good enough for him to make his first All-Star game. This year, he also flashed leather and won a Gold Glove for right field. He was also an important part of the Astros' 2022 World Series team. He had an even better year in 2023, where he batted 284 with an OPS of 886, 29 homers, 30 stolen bases, and a WAR of 5.5. He also led the AL with 112 RBIs. However, he did regress in the field, being a negative fielder. He made his second All-Star game, won a Silver Slugger, and came fifth in MVP voting. In June of 2024, Kyle Tucker fouled a ball off his leg, which fractured his right shin, causing him to miss nearly 3 months. He did still have a good enough first half to make another All-Star game. In 78 games in 2024, he played insane, batting 284 with an OPS of 993, 23 homers, and a WAR of 4.7. He was on pace for almost 10 WAR before he got injured. Going into 2025, the Astros would have had to pay him a ton of money, so they decided to trade him to the Chicago Cubs for Isaac Paredes, a pitcher and a prospect. Kyle Tucker then signed a 1 year, $16.5 million deal with the Cubs. So far in 2025, he's playing really well, batting 280 with an OPS of 882, 17 homers, 22 stolen bases, and 4 WAR. He made the All-Star team, and this pick was definitely a success for the Astros. Also, this draft was ridiculously good for the Astros, as they got both Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman. With the sixth overall pick, the Minnesota Twins would take Tyler J., a left-handed pitcher out of Illinois. Tyler J would spend all of 2016, 17, and 18 in the minor leagues for the Twins, not playing very well. In 2019, he would be diagnosed with eosinophilic esophagitis, which would make it challenging for him to swallow food. I also definitely pronounced that wrong. In 2019, he would get traded to the Cincinnati Reds. In 2020, there was no minor league baseball, so he could not play any. Tyler J would not play at all in 2021 either, so he could focus on his health. In 2022, he would come back to baseball playing for the Joliet Slammers of the Frontier League, which is an independent baseball league. He would also play for them some in 2023 before getting a contract with the Mets to be in the minor leagues. He would spend some time in the Mets farm system for a little bit before finally getting the call up. In 2024, he would pitch 4 2/3 innings for the Mets as a reliever, which he would post a 7.71 ERA. He would then get traded to the Milwaukee Brewers, where he would pitch 3 innings with a 0 ERA. He would get DFA'd by the Brewers going into 2025, where he would get claimed by the Mariners. The Mariners would DFA him before the season started, and the Brewers would sign him to a minor league contract, which is where he is now. This pick was definitely a bust. With the 7th overall pick, the Boston Red Sox took Andrew Benintendi, an outfielder out of Arkansas. He was described by scouts as having exceptional hitting ability, with above average speed, solid center field skills, with an average arm. He would not really play center field, being primarily a left fielder. He would end up being called up during the 2016 season, where he played well in 34 games, batting .295 with an OPS of .835, with 2 homers and a WAR of .8. He would be a full-time member of the team for 2017, where he had a good year batting .271 with an OPS of .776 with 20 homers, 20 stolen bases, and 3 WAR. However, he was pretty bad in the field with -7 OAAA. He would come second in Rookie of the Year voting, but it wasn't a very fair race as that year Aaron Judge won it because he hit 52 homers. He would improve in 2018, where he would bat .290 with an OPS of .830, 16 homers, 21 stolen bases, and a WAR of 4.8. He would also improve greatly in the field, having 2 AAA. Also in the 2018 ALCS, second overall pick Alex Bregman was up to bat with the bases loaded, 2 outs, with the Red Sox up 2 runs. He hits a hardliner into left field where Andrew Benintendi makes an incredible diving grab to end the game. Benintendi was an important part of that 2018 World Series team. He wouldn't be quite as good in 2019, where he bat .266 with an OPS of .774, with 13 homers and a WAR of 1.7. He'd also be terrible in the field, having -10 OAA. He missed most of the shortened 2020 season with a strained rib cage, but in the 14 games he did play, he was terrible. He batted .103 with an OPS of .442. Going into the 2021 season, Benintendi would be traded to the Kansas City Royals. The Great Barbecue there helped him get back on track, as in 2021 he would bat .276 with an OPS of .776, with 17 homers and a WAR of 2.9. He would also win a Gold Glove for his fielding ability. In 2022, he would play great in the first half, as in the first 93 games with the Royals, he'd bat .320 with an OPS of .785 and a WAR of 2.3. He didn't hit as much power as normal, hitting 3 homers in those 93 games. He would make the All-Star game for this first half. After these 93 games, the Royals would trade Benintendi to the Yankees for 3 pitching prospects. In 33 games with the Yankees, he would hit .254 with an OPS of .734, 2 homers, and a WAR of .6. He was a free agent after this year, and the Chicago White Sox would sign him to a 5-year, $75 million deal. Obviously, the fall off would start with the White Sox, as in 2023 he would regress, hitting .262 with an OPS of .682, with 5 homers and a WAR of .4. He was also horrible in the field, having -11 OAA. The 2024 White Sox were obviously amazing, and Benintendi would play badly with the rest of the team. In 2024, he batted .229 with an OPS of .685 and a WAR of -0.8. He really only hit for power, as he did hit 20 homers, but that's basically all he did. He was once again horrible in the field. So far in 2025, he's playing slightly better than 2024, batting .233 with an OPS of .727 with 11 homers and a .3 WAR. He's once again horrible in the field, though. I would say this pick was a success because he had a couple good years and helped the Red Sox win the World Series. With the 8th overall pick, the Chicago White Sox selected Carson Fulmer, a right-handed pitcher out of Vanderbilt. He was described as having an electric arm and throwing gas, but there were concerns with his delivery and ability to throw strikes. He would make his debut in 2016 for the White Sox, coming out of the bullpen. In 2016, out of the bullpen, he would pitch 12 innings with an ERA of 8.49. He would spend most of 2017 in the minors, but he would play in 7 games at the MLB level, starting 5 of them. He would pitch 23 innings with a 3.86 ERA. He would spend some time in the minors in 2018, but he would play in 9 games, starting 8 of them. In 2018, he played pretty bad, pitching 32 innings with an ERA of 8.07, with a whip of 1.8. In 2019, they would move him to being mainly a bullpen arm, but he would start in 2 games. He would be bad again in 2019, pitching 27 innings with an ERA of 6.26. Before the 2020 season, the White Sox were done with Fulmer, so he was designated for assignment. He was claimed by the Detroit Tigers, where he would play in 7 games out of the bullpen for them. He pitched 7 innings with an ERA of 6.75. They would DFA him before the season ended, where he was then picked up by the Baltimore Orioles. In 2020 with the Orioles, he would pitch in 3 games out of the bullpen, having a 0 ERA. He would then get DFA'd, get picked up by the Pittsburgh Pirates, and then get DFA'd by them before ever pitching for them. He would then get picked up by the Cincinnati Reds. 2021, he would spend some time in the minors, but he would play in 20 games for the Reds out of the bullpen. He would pitch 26 innings, having a 6.66 ERA. After the year ended, he was selected by the Dodgers in the Rule 5 draft. He spent all of 2022 in the Dodgers minor league system. He would then go into free agency, where he would sign a minor league deal with the Mariners, but was released before the season started. He was then signed to a minor league deal by the Los Angeles Angels. He would then pitch in 3 games for the Angels in 2023, starting 1 of them, and he had an ERA of 2.7. He would return to the Angels in 2024, where he would have his biggest workload of his career. He would pitch in 37 games, starting 8 of them, pitching 87 innings with an ERA of 4.15 in 2024. He would then sign a minor league contract with the Pirates for 2025. He pitched in the Pirates' minor league system until June 2nd, when he got released by the team. He then signed another contract with the Angels, where he has pitched 5 innings with an ERA of 5.06. He was definitely a bust and also played for basically every team. With the ninth overall pick, the Chicago Cubs selected Ian Happ, a second baseman out of Cincinnati. Ian Happ would spend all of 2016 in the minors before getting called up in 2017. In 2017, he would play in 115 games, playing at second base, left field, and center field. In 2017, he would be good, batting .253 with an OPS of 842 with 24 homers and a WAR of 1.6. In 2018, he would not be as good, batting .233 with an OPS of 761 with 15 homers. He would play all over in the field again, and he would struggle in the field. In 2019, he would spend a good amount of time in the minors, but he would play 58 games in the majors. In those 58 games, he would play well, batting .264 with an OPS of 898 with 11 homers and a WAR of 1.4. They would play him all over in the field again, and he would improve a little bit defensively. He would be good in the shortened 2020 season, as he would bat .258 with an OPS of 866 with 12 homers and a WAR of 1.3. He would also make improvements in the field. He wouldn't be quite as good in 2021, as he would bat .226 with an OPS of 757 with 25 homers and a WAR of 1.6. He would also struggle in the field. In 2022, he had his true breakout year, where he would bat .271 with an OPS of 781, 17 homers, and a WAR of 4.3. This year would be good enough for him to make the All-Star game. They also finally found a position for him, playing him in left field. He would be great defensively in left field, winning a Gold Glove. 2023 was also good to Ian Happ, where he would bat .248 with an OPS of 791, 21 homers, and a WAR of 3.6. He would also win the Gold Glove for left field again. He would sign a 3-year, $61 million contract extension in April of 2023. He was good again in 2024, where he would bat .243 with an OPS of 782 with 25 homers and a WAR of 3.9. Once again, he would win the Gold Glove for left field. He's not playing quite as well in 2025, batting .228 with an OPS of 701 with 12 homers and a WAR of 1.5. This pick was definitely a success. With the 10th overall pick, the Philadelphia Phillies selected Cornelius Randolph, a shortstop out of high school. Cornelius was one of the most exciting prospects in the draft, with scouts saying he had the tools to hit for both power and average. Things would not go very well for him as he would spend 2015 to 2021 in the Phillies minor league system. He did show some promise during this time, but nothing to deserve a call up. He would go into free agency after the 2021 season, where he would be signed to a minor league deal by the Chicago White Sox. He would spend 2022 at Double-A, where he would play terribly, batting 118. After 2022, he would be out of the MLB and he is currently playing baseball in Mexico. This pick is definitely a bust. As for other talent in the first round, the Reds took Tyler Stevenson 11th overall, the Marlins took Josh Naylor 12th overall, the Dodgers took Walker Buehler 24th overall, the Braves took Michael Soroka 28th overall, the Pirates took Ke'Bryan Hayes 32nd overall, the Orioles took Ryan Mountcastle 36th overall, and the Braves took Austin Riley 41st overall. In later rounds, it also included Cedric Mullins, Brandon Lau, Jake Cronenworth, Trent Grisham, Ryan Helsley, Paul DeYoung, and Harrison Bader. That will do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. See you later.